We admitted we were powerless over alcohol and that our lives had become unmanageable. It's important to note that there's two parts to that step. And I always tell people this, the first half of the first step is the only part where it talks about removal of drugs and alcohol. There's this other 11 and a half steps, That's why I always tell people going to detox alone is not enough. Or just saying, I'm not gonna drink this weekend is not enough. There's 11 and a half more steps, 11 and a half more things you have to do that don't have anything to do with removal of drugs and alcohol. So admitting powerlessness, right? Like a Budweiser truck passed me on the way here. I drove past liquor stores. Every restaurant I go into has a bar. That liquor, the truck is not gonna hurt me. I'm powerless after I put it in my body. I have a decision to make. So admitting powerlessness to me is admitting it to myself. See, I will admit powerlessness to the judge, the lawyer, my parents, the prosecutor. I'll admit it to all of those people because it gets me out of the consequences. You see, it gets me out of trouble. Everybody from a jail cell will say, I admit powerlessness, I'm never gonna do it again, right? That's consequence reduction. You're trying to get out of trouble. And then what happens? Every time when we get out of trouble, things lighten up a little bit. One beer won't hurt with the game, right? So I had to admit powerlessness. Instead of telling my parents, the lawyer, the police, the judge, drug court, whoever it may be, my sponsor told me, look in the mirror and tell it to yourself. And I did that while I was at the homeless shelter. I walked in and looked in the mirror and was sitting there thinking, man, there is something wrong with me. The sum total, I was 36 when I walked in there. The sum total of 36 years of my life is that I'm in a homeless shelter with track marks in my arm. And I drink tequila to get out of bed. So I had to admit powerlessness to myself. And then the second half, that our lives had become unmanageable. Let me tell you, being sober now, there's this thing that goes on that normal people do. Their bills come due once a month and they pay them. And then they know they're gonna come again next month. So they save their money and then they pay them again, right? They're manageable. Like the kitchen's full of food, the phone bill's paid, the house note's paid, the car payments, the insurance, right? They're manageable. My shit was all over like this, right? And I'm always calling my parents to bail me out. Hey, I need food. Hey, I'm gonna be late on the rent. My phone's about to get cut off, right? It's because I was unmanageable because something else meant more to me than paying my bills, taking care of my kids, paying the insurance, and taking care of my business. Something else was more important to me. And that was my fix, my drugs and alcohol.